The nation of Greece continues its stand against a migrant invasion from Turkey as European nations stand united in support of Greece closing its borders. And this all the while left-wing forces from Germany and Finland are attempting to take matters into their own hands and open up the borders of Europe once again. We're going to give you an update on the latest efforts in Greece. They really are just heroic and amazing, along with the nations that are coming to their aid, and how we're already seeing a real backlash against leftist calls for open borders. You're going to absolutely love it. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. It's wonderful to be with you as always. This is your daily white pill of encouragement as we celebrate the inevitable, inexorable collapse of globalism, the unstoppable rise of a new conservative age. So if you have not already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss a single video analyzing current events in light of super awesome conservative trends so you can live in the present in light of even better things to come. Now, before we get into the latest situation at the Greek and Turkish border, make sure to download your free gift. We put it together just for you. I'm very excited about it. It's called our Fake News Antidote, which is a compilation of over 20 sites that I go to for my news each and every day. And you can download it completely free at the link down below in the pinned comment section. I think you're really, really going to enjoy that resource. And finally, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's collagen, available at healthwithsteveturley.com. Now, if you don't know, collagen may be the closest thing we'll ever get to a real fountain of youth. Many health experts now agree that consuming collagen is crucial as it gets to renew and revitalize how you look and feel. Taking collagen regularly can revitalize your body and make your skin, bones, and even hair look and feel more healthy and youthful. Now, if you're interested in learning more about collagen and getting your own supply, well then visit healthwithsteveturley.com or just click on the link below and check it out. You'll be glad you did. All right, let's dive right in here. Some amazing stuff going on. The nation of Greece continues to hold the line against the onslaught of migrants who have amassed on the Turkish-Greek border and who are violently attempting to force their way into Europe. Now, we've done 2 videos thus far on the Greek-Turkish border conflict. You can check them both out by clicking on the links above. I'll link them down below for you as well in the pinned comment section. But this really is turning into ground zero for defending the new Europe. And I saw the new Europe, I should say the new Europe, because in the midst of this, the old Europe looks increasingly pathetic and ridiculous. And that's the Europe of open borders and refugee resettlements numbering in the millions, right? Now, we'll get to those who actually want to return to those glory days in a moment. But here's where we are right now in terms of the updated information that we have at the Greek border. Very quickly, if you don't know, over the last couple of weeks, President Erdogan of Turkey has betrayed the 2016 treaty that he signed preventing migrants from Northern Africa and the Middle East from passing through Turkey into Europe, okay? This was in response to the massive flood of so-called refugees that came in 2015, which totaled over 1 million migrants spread across Europe by that year's end. Erdogan has since then been humiliated of late in the Syrian conflict. He's clearly blackmailing Europe to give him more money, more billions to handle the migrant situation in Turkey, as well as back him up in his efforts in the Syrian conflict. And so he's ripped up the 2016 migrant agreement. That's right. He pulled a Nancy the Ripper Pelosi. He tore up the agreement and has opened up the floodgates to let out all of these illegal immigrants into primarily Greece. Now, that's being generous to say that he's opened the floodgates. We have video and eyewitness reports that show that Erdogan is actually coordinating the migrant invasion and getting them on board buses and driving them by the thousands up to the border with Greece. There are pictures of Turkish forces firing tear gas over the border against Greek security forces to make their lives even more miserable as they're trying valiantly to hold the line there. But hold the line they have. God bless them. Doxa Theo, as they would say. They have been faithfully holding the line and preventing tens of thousands of migrants from entering into Greece illegally, and the whole of Europe, by the way. The official count, as I understand, is about 40,000 migrants have thus far been stopped cold at the border. Turkey's insisting that they've sent over 100,000 migrants, but Greek officials are saying that's a bunch of nonsense. They've stopped really more around 40,000. So here's something that's going to absolutely warm your heart in all of this. You ready? The AP is reporting that ordinary patriotic Greeks are voluntarily enlisting to defend Europe against this completely unprovoked migrant invasion. As the conservative government there has ordered the Greek borders completely sealed, the number of enlistments to become part of the Greek security forces has gone up astronomically. They're functioning primarily as volunteer trackers. So these are primarily people in the regions that border Turkey and who know the terrain well. They know where all the migrants could be hiding and crossing. So they're functioning as volunteer trackers and surveillance. It's really amazing. And like we talked about in our other videos, Europe is coming to the aid of Greece. Again, this Europe of 2020 is radically different than the Angela Merkel Europe of 2015. This is the new nationalist populist Europe that wants nothing to do with the open borders insanity of leftist globalists. So Hungary has just announced that they'll be contributing at least 65 border guards to assist Greece in defending their borders against these mostly male, well, frankly, literally all I see is entirely male migrant swarm, young male. In fact, the whole of the Visegrad Four is stepping up. That's Hungary, Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia. So if you're not familiar, they're all known as the Visegrad Four. That's a bloc of 4 nations in Central Europe, and they are deeply aligned with one another, and they all have their respective right-wing governments. It's very cool. We've talked about this in other videos, but just to be clear, you've got Viktor Orban in Hungary, you've got the Law and Justice Party in Poland, you've got Babis in the Czech Republic, and Slovakia just had their elections where the vast majority of the parties that were voted into parliament are all variations of some kind of the nationalist populist right. We mentioned this in the other video, but even their left-wing party, Smer, is an anti-immigration party. So they banded together and pledged to help Greece deal with the pressure along its borders. The wonderful, and again, I say that again, wonderful Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki has announced that Poland will be deploying guards at the Greek-Turkish border as well. And if you can believe it, all 3 EU presidents have come to visit the Greek-Turkish border to show their support. So these are the presidents from the EU Commission, the EU Council, and the EU Parliament. They all came and went out of their way to show that this would emphatically not be a repeat of what happened in 2015 when over 1 million migrants crossed over into Europe. So keep in mind, Greece still has to maintain resettlement camps from 2015. I believe these camps are on the islands of Lesbos and Chios. There are still tens of thousands of refugees who are living in these camps that Greece is having to house. Now, it may shock you. Well, no, it won't. No, it won't, okay? But if you can believe it, there are actually calls from Europe's political left to open up the borders and bring the migrants in. Coronavirus be damned, bring them on in. The Voice of Europe is reporting that a number of German politicians, artists, journalists, and asylum lobbyists are coming out and saying that all refugees, don't you love that term? Right? Yes, these so-called refugees, these young men, are all welcome in Germany, right? There's actually a hashtag on Twitter, Wir haben Platz, which means we have space. Hashtag we have space. Wir haben Platz. And it's trending on Twitter. And Breitbart is reporting as well that Finland's feminist government, led by the Social Democrats in coalition with the Green Party, they're offering migrants asylum in Finland. The interior minister, who's a young feminist leftist from the Green League Party, has come out and denounced the closing of the borders by the conservative Greek government. And she said that the Greek government's decision to suspend asylum applications was just flat out wrong. And in this sense, you know, both the leftists in Germany and the Finnish government, they're actually just echoing the nuts over in the United Nations. The United Nations has denounced the Greek government for trampling on the human rights of migrants. This is why the United States and 24 other nations refused to sign the UN Charter on Immigration, because the Charter had the direct intent of nonsense precisely like this, of turning migration into a human right and thus being legally imposing sanctions on nations that rejected that right. Good news is it appears all for naught. Europeans aren't having any of it. In fact, the Nationalist Populist Finns Party, which has traditionally been known as the True Finns, they're calling for a vote of no confidence against the left-wing coalition there. I mean, think about it. Even the bullies in Brussels are backing Greece and all this. So how far left wacky do you have to be to call for open borders at this point in time? So the Nationalist Populist Finns Party, they're calling for a vote of no confidence for the leftist government in Finland. And you could be sure, I haven't read anything yet, but you could be sure that the Nationalist Populist forces in Germany are ready to pounce on similar leftist calls there as well. So we'll certainly be keeping our eyes on how things develop on the Greek-Turkish border, but it does appear Europe is becoming even more united in maintaining their border security and hence their civilizational security in the midst of this latest migration assault. So we'll certainly be staying on top of this most important story. So before you go, make sure to check out the video I just uploaded on Hillary Clinton actually admitting that the nationalist right is indeed winning and taking over the media. That's right. Now even one of the major figures of the political left is admitting that the days of the mainstream Marxist media have indeed come to an end. You're going to absolutely love it. So make sure to click on the link and I'll see you over there. God bless.